is it you pray for?
Welcome everybody to the 9th episode of Abyssal Musings with my co-host Lawrence Knight, and today we have a special guest, Amir the Exiled Lioness. Welcome everybody. My name's Samuel the Infamous. Let's get the show started.
Yay!
It's super enthusiastic. All right, so we have so far we've got Logical Spock here and Kohai Masochist. Good to see you. Yeah, here we are. We've got some things to cover tonight. And just kind of, it's nice to be back after the holiday. First thing we're going to do though is we've got a couple of trailers we want to talk about, but I'm going to bring up this one first. Larry has another one that he brought up to my attention, which we're going to go over too, but I can't wait for this fucking thing.
You sure you're gonna do that? I think people are still filing in. We've got like 4 people right now.
Oh, we can show it again as it goes. So hey, Caucasian Sasquatch, good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so I don't know if y'all are aware, but back in 1985, there was a bear who ingested 10 kilos of cocaine and went crazy and then just died because, it ate 10 kilos of cocaine.
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty much the end of the story. It's sad and it's fucked up, but they made a movie. This is Ray Liotta's last film before he passed away, which it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And they decided to make a thriller out of the story. So this is only very loosely based on the true story, but it should be good. Oh, did I can you hear that? Did I share sound?
Yeah,
I don't think I did.
We can hear it.
Okay. Good. Where the hell did my cursor go? Here we go.
Oh my God, Samuel.
Oh, Jesus. What is that?
Beth, we should go.
Millions of dollars worth of cocaine
I can't
fell
wait.
from the sky this morning in Knoxville, Tennessee.
There's more of this out there. They dumped it somewhere.
I'm looking
There he's in a movie.
Dangerous place.
Pick it out. Something got into it. A deer, maybe.
A lot of
That's no deer.
cocaine was lost. I need you to go and get it.
No, don't eat that, don't eat that.
Let's see what kind of effect that has on the bear. It fucking did cocaine. A bear did cocaine.
There was a bear.
A bear?
It was far.
Hey, that's inappropriate.
You're safe. Bears can't climb trees.
Of course they can.
Yes, they can.
Oh shit.
We might get hit for the music here.
It kind of seems like the thing that stays with a man forever.
Apex predator. High on cocaine.
Thought of his mind. Oh man, you fucked.
What's wrong with that bear?
Shoot it, man!
Bear, speed up!
Get higher, baby, and don't ever come down.
We have such good luck in nature.
I can't wait.
You know what? There's nothing else to make movies about. They run out of topics in Hollywood. They're just like, how about a bear on cocaine? Oh, yes.
Right.
Genius.
Living where I used to live, which was sunny old California, stuff like that was not out of the ordinary. I remember seeing a story. This guy got home and he had this refrigerator in his backyard and he had stocked up full of alcohol. He pulls in, he sees cans rolling and laying on, towards all the way in the back of the driveway. He goes out, walks over in the back. There's a bear passed out. 28 cans of beer it drank. The last beer it had in its paws. The bear had took its one of its talons and popped the top like we would, and drank all 28 beers and passed out with the last can in his hand. So seeing a story like that, that's not out of the ordinary. I mean,
well, the thing is that did happen. There was a bear that ate a bunch of cocaine that fell out of an airplane in the Pacific Northwest in the 80s. It did happen. All the stuff with the rampage didn't. Like he went a little nuts, but he ingested so much cocaine that his heart exploded. So it wasn't very long.
well, of course not. But you got to embellish a little. Kind of like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh man,
Was that a real thing?
no, it wasn't. That was a myth. It was made up. They just they tried to sell it like it was a real thing, and they made it was the highest grossing independent movie of all time because people believed it was real.
Yeah.
And then they found out like some of the actors who were in it got spotted, at a coffee shop in Boston or something like that, and they were like, "Oh,
You're not dead."
yeah." So no, that was that whole thing was a setup. And I'm not upset about the setup. I just didn't think it was that good a movie.
Well, it was the first movie that seemed like it was recorded by the actual people, right? It seemed like that was the first time we had cameras in people's hands.
It was certainly the first one that made the impact that it did. Sure. Yeah, I think that Cinema Veritas stuff's been around since like film school's been a thing, but it was never really popularly used because, as it turns out, shaky cam tends to make your audience nauseous.
Right. That's true. Oh my God. It was horrible. Got sick. A lot of people got sick watching that.
Yeah, and it wasn't because of the horror; it was just because the camera wouldn't stay still.
The motion sickness.
The moving, yeah. I mean, I think the next one after that is Paranormal Activity, and Paranormal Activity, though it had some shaky camera scenes too, but it was mostly just like supposed to be candid camera, like.
Yeah, they were using cameras that were set up around the house. I think
I told you the story about that, right?
No,
I believe so. Yeah, this would have been what 4 or 5 episodes ago.
Yeah, Mira doesn't know. The very first one, the apartment that my wife and I were living in before we left California, that first movie was filmed in the apartment directly below us. When we moved in, there were demonic symbols and stuff like in the boiler room. They left all the props there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy sight seeing all this stuff.
Man,
You moved in after or before that movie was?
This was after.
Oh, you moved in after the movie had
I
been
moved
finished?
in, yeah, well after. Those props have been there for a couple of years. They just left them there and never came back and got them.
Yeah, and I imagine any other tenants in between then and now probably didn't want to touch them.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to touch it.
I wish I could find it. There was a meme on the internet a few years ago that showed what after they had peeled up the carpet over the hardwood to replace it, and what they found was this like deep red colored paint that said "Get Out" in spattered letters and showed handprints being dragged towards the wall, the heating grate on the bottom of the wall.
Wait, so was Paranormal Activity actually real, or was that just a movie?
No, it was just a movie.
Okay.
So a lot of that stuff, if they say based on a true story, it's usually extremely loosely based on a true story. And even if it is more accurate than not, like for instance, The Exorcist is based on a novel that was written in the 50s by a guy named William Peter Blatty. Now, he based his novel on a supposed true story that happened in like the 1920s. But it was based on something. He was 30 years removed from it when he wrote his book. And then The Exorcist was made into a movie 20 years after that. So you got to imagine there was some,
embellishment.
Yeah. And that's true of pretty much anything that's based. And sometimes it's only just the tiniest bit that's based. There was a movie called The Brotherhood of the Wolf, or Le Pacte de Loup, out of France back in like 2000, I want to say 1, and it was very, very loosely based on the story of the Beast de Gévaudan, which was some kind of large black canine-looking animal that was responsible for the deaths of over 100 people. So the first part of the movie, the first third of it, the first act, is very much based on accounts of what had actually happened. The second part is speculation as to what happened, immediately after that, because a lot of that got lost to time. And the third part is this batshit insane, like weird cult martial arts thing. It just goes wild, and it has nothing to do with anything that really happened.
That's funny.
That is funny. Now, you know what else is funny? I wish we could talk about it. Is Disney's having a hard week, but I'm going to leave that.
Are you referring to the swapping of the Bobs?
It's among other things. That's even just coming on today. I just saw another article that I have to add to my list for Saturday.
Did you happen to catch what that Star Wars girl said about it?
No.
Okay, so she read Bob Iger's
Caucasians have
autobiography.
something, by the way, guys.
Oh, hey, no problem at all. So Bob Iger wrote an autobiography, and in it he details all of the shady shit that he's done, including basically blackmailing George Lucas into selling Star Wars to Disney. And he's very explicit about a lot of this stuff. He's also made it very publicly known that he wants to be president of the United States. So given what he said there and what she extrapolated from that and what he's actually said, it looks like, according to that Star Wars girl, that what happened was Bob stepped down and then Bob Chapek stepped in knowingly. He knew he was going to be thrown under the bus later, so that Bob Iger could come back in and quote unquote rescue Disney, because that will make his presidential bid look that much better.
But here's the thing about that, though, is that first of all, he handpicked Bob Chapek. 2 years ago when it happened, everybody was saying it then. They were like, oh, he's looking for a fall guy, and he's probably still running Disney behind this guy. This guy was just a figurehead. He was just the one there to take the blame for all the stuff that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
yeah,
it's
that's what I'm saying. It's like Chapek was the fall guy, and he probably received a hefty payout for it. That's her theory, and I think that there's probably some truth to that. I don't know for sure, because I haven't been following the behind the scenes shit with Disney very closely at all, aside from what I hear here and there. But mostly I've just been avoiding them altogether, because their products these days are terrible and pushing agendas that I don't particularly care for onto kids.
Well, supposedly that's not gonna go on for very long. They are, as of today, they are swearing off the woke stuff. But while we have a real gem here, I want to ask the lioness what she thinks, because you look like you got a lot on your mind.
The voices in my head are talking. So I was just trying to zone them out and figure out what you guys are talking about, because the voices in my head are I'm joking. No, I mean, I don't really know too much about the Disney drama. I'm going to have to study that on Saturday before we do our stream, because Larry, you put it all in the list, but I have to give it a good study first before I can really say anything proper about it. All I know is that Disney went super woke and now they're going super broke. And that's typically what happens. Mark Dice always talks about it. Go woke, go broke. So I'm not surprised that this is happening. And I'm happy to hear that maybe Disney will be dropping the woke stuff. But if they do, they're going to be at risk for all the feminist mothers who are mothers of LGBT children and trans children. They're going to risk, it's going to be some uproar about that. And I think that Disney will go back to doing the wokeness. So we'll see.
I think Disney is in large part responsible for those parents and some of the choices that those parents are making regarding their children.
They are.
These people are already brainwashed to the point where they think that they're doing the right thing for their children and letting their children express themselves and be who they really are. So I don't know.
I will believe it when I see it. I think that Disney, I think certain elements at Disney are tired of losing money, and certain other elements, unless they purge the activists from their ranks entirely, this is never going away.
Mm.
They have to get rid of the activists and bring in people, talented people who want to make money.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and
even their theme parks.
And not worry about the backlash, because I mean, let's face it. I mean, look at what just happened with Alyssa Milano with and Twitter.
Hey, Bernie, if you drink Coke, you might be woke. Yeah, or if you eat it, as we saw earlier with the bear, which I might play again later. I'm pretty sure we're going to get hit for that song, but that's fine. But yeah, it's I don't know. I will believe that Disney turns around when they actually turn around. Right now, they're even losing money at their parks, which is what drives everything else. That's where they make their money, is at their theme parks.
Hey, Beak is here.
Good to see you, Beak.
My ghost.
It does look better than Sharknado, like leagues better. And I love Sharknado. It's so terrible.
Beak is a man or a woman?
Beak is a dude, I believe he said at one point.
I wish I knew who Beak was, because Beak.
Beak is the stork, and Beak will be visiting my house very soon with a bundle of joy delivering at my door.
Oh, male. Okay, Beak.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been actually, Beak has been quite a bit more vocal over here than he has been on your channel. He says quite a bit.
He barely talks on my channel. I mean, I'll get like a few comments from him, and then he drops something in the tip jar every time he leaves. So I'm just like, he's a ghost on my channel. And I'm like, who are you?
Well, I think he likes to listen to what you have to say, and he follows the chat pretty closely.
Yeah, but I like to know who the people are. And I'm like, Beak, show thyself, please come to the front of the class. Let me know you. But he's a ghost, and I respect that. If he wants to be a ghost, I'll let him be a ghost. But
yeah, I'm sure you have a bunch of other lurkers too who never say anything at all. Yeah, it happens when you start making it. So Squatch, you might have missed Cocaine Bear, but that's okay, because we will revisit that at some point, because it's awesome.
So, I was gonna say, while we've got the lioness here, let me. I've always wanted to ask you this. I've never asked you what type of movies that you like to watch, because I know you are an avid movie watcher. I know we've discussed watching some political films, and I missed that the member stream that we did that day. That was great when we watched that movie. But I've always wanted to ask you, like, what genre movies do you normally like? I guess this is Interview Amira Day, but what's your favorite genre of movie to watch?
Oh, hold up real quick, right before we get into that. He did prepare for the meme, so it's kind of obligatory at this point, right? It's good to see you, Shadow Buddy. It's good to see you. $20 is $20. All right, I'll stop for the night, man. That's I got to show that every time he shows up, because that's him in the picture.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, one of our mods over here took his face and put it on the female gremlin from Gremlins 2. It's kind of a running joke on this channel. So,
what did I come to? Why didn't I just stay home?
Right. But I did give him my word the other night, and actually a while back, that I would not be passing those memes around to other creators. They would stay on this channel. So if anything happens with anybody else, it wasn't me, dude. We got another one though that'll I think do I have it on here? I do not have it on here. I do have another one of him somewhere. I will add it into the rotation, buddy, where he looks a lot better.
Right. But while you're doing that, let me repeat the question. What is your
No,
favorite?
I heard you. What's the favorite?
I just want to make sure.
What's the favorite genre? I like documentaries. That's my favorite. I love documentaries. I love movies about real things that have clips of real events that happened on camera because I like to learn and I love like 9/11 documentaries, not because I'm Arab and halaka halaka death to America. That's not why. But I love 9/11 documentaries because I'm fascinated with the events that happened and not because my uncle was there.
Hey, let me ask you this then. Did you ever see Team America World Police?
Yeah.
What did you think of that movie?
I enjoyed it. I like Borat. Like Borat is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It has to be one of the most technically complicated films ever made because they did puppets and miniatures for the entire thing.
Yeah. But yeah, documentaries mostly or comedy. Those are my two favorite documentaries with real scenes from real events. It has to have real scenes from real events. I don't want to just have somebody talk about it. I want to see and then you explain what happened.
So fantasy is not something that we won't catch you watching Lord of the Rings or something like that. Okay.
No, the furthest that I've dipped into fantasy was Shrek. I did like Shrek and I did like Harry Potter. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I might be the only person in the world who doesn't like Harry Potter.
No, there's others.
Y'all like the Wednesday show.
Hey, Super Suka.
Yeah, Wednesday from the Addams Family. They made a show out of it for Netflix.
Oh,
I watched it and it's really
so did I.
Yeah, I watched some of it.
I watched the whole thing on Joker Voice's recommendation because he was talking it up something fierce this last weekend, and I watched the whole thing. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
How much of it? Oh, you said you finished the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I did. It's chock full of messaging, dude.
It does have some. It does have some woke.
Not some, dude. It's coming out of its fucking ears.
But I was able to block it out. But yeah, I was like, there was no need to.
I will.
It was like now it's one thing when it's in a movie. I mean, when it's in a movie or a show, but like the timing of it was off. Like it didn't even make any sense for them to say when they said it. It was almost like it was almost like it was satire the way they were saying it. So it left me wondering are they trying to get woke points or are they making fun of the woke audience?
That's the problem. It's so hard to tell these days. You know, you can't tell, and then it could be either one. And I will say that there were things I did like about it quite a bit. I loved the music. The music was fantastic. I think it was gorgeously shot. I think that most of the people in it did a very good job with the characters as they were written. You know, especially I think her name is Jenna Ortega, the one who actually plays Wednesday.
Yeah.
She was good in that role for what she had to work with, but she was also utterly unlikable.
What are you talking about? She did great.
I know.
Your standards are weird, man.
The character was unlikable. I'm not saying her performance was bad. Her performance was excellent, but the character itself, as it was written, as she played it, was unlikable. There was, and she was supposed to be the. She also was saying some shit that was out of character for an Addams.
Like.
Well, you know how they like if you ever watch the old Addams Family, they say weird shit and they usually lean into like atrocities and like horrible stuff. And she would say something along those lines like, "Oh, well, something really bad is going to happen and not the good kind of bad." And then she'd go off and try to prevent it, which is completely out of character for her. Wednesday Addams would encourage that shit.
She fed on that. Yeah, she fed on. Yeah.
Okay, so, in that way, then yeah, I understand, but still, I guess just for me, I tend to lean towards the positives. Like a movie or a show, it has to just be utterly terrible for me not to like it. I don't blame her performance. I loved her performance.
I'm not blaming her performance either, man.
But the writing, like the woke stuff, was unnecessary. And there were some inconsistencies. I'll admit there were some inconsistencies with the character.
Well, even outside of like any messaging, man, do you remember the old Addams Family, right?
Yes, I do.
You know, outside of Thing and maybe Lurch, was there ever any mention of like real ghouls and goblins and shit? I don't think that was the case. I think they were just weird human beings.
They just lived a weird life.
Yeah, it's like they took aspects of the Munsters and mashed it into this.
Oh.
You know, because it's got vampires, it's got werewolves, it's got freaking sirens for some reason. There's a Gorgon in it. You know,
Yeah, there's a family of Gorgons in it.
You're
There's-
ruining Larry's dream. Let Larry.
Well,
be.
no, it's just, you know, look, I'm used to his habit of just utterly ruining and destroying stuff.
it's
I'm
kind
used
of my
to it.
brand.
Poor Larry. You can hear his voice. He's like, yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It's just like dude,
again,
shut up.
again, dude, there are things in it that I did like, that I did enjoy very much. There were
What
some
that?
things.
What the ending credits?
No, well, that too, but no, like I like the callback with the snaps. You know, I like that quite a bit. I thought the way they worked that in was very clever.
But they
I
didn't
lo-
work it incorrectly though, Samuel.
Well, no, they didn't.
The Addams Family didn't invent the snap on the series. How come
No,
you didn't
it
bring
was
that up?
it was part of the theme song on the original series. You know,
But they weren't but they weren't the ones that was doing it now, were they?
Shadow.
yeah. So
The
yeah,
Wookiees
it is.
hated it? Good.
And maybe it is because of the last, like, I don't know what, 5 to 7 years of television and movies has been so overwhelmingly message heavy, to the detriment of a lot of times of character and writing and that sort of thing, and even cohesion in some cases, that now that's all I can see, that it is possible that I you know.
But you know what though, Samuel? I will say this, because maybe I'm being a little hard on you. You would make an outstanding killer in a horror movie, and here's why.
You make a good octopus.
You don't, and he doesn't need a knife or anything. All you have to do is going around to people who have dreams that they haven't realized yet, and just totally smash them with facts that nobody knew about except for you. And then it just make them want to jump out a window and kill themselves. That way your hands stay clean.
I got a brother who would full on agree with you.
That would be perfect.
his,
Like, that's nice, but you know.
yeah, he's always telling me, he's like, stop bursting my bubble, asshole.
Like, Samuel cannot go along with a dream for nothing. Like, somebody's like, I'm just so happy. Samuel's like, let me ruin your whole career.
Now, let me ask you both this, because I didn't even know this happened earlier this year. Have either of you ever seen Fire Fraud on Hulu? There's 2 versions of it. There's one on Hulu and there's one on Netflix.
Fire what?
Fire Fraud.
Can't say as I have. I don't think I've even heard of that.
Amir, have you ever heard of Billy McFarland?
McFarlane from the Family Guy?
Billy McFarland. It's a documentary. So this guy organized, he tried to make another kind of almost like another Burning Man, or like a Coachella. He scammed a bunch of rich people out of money, and he hired models. He hired, I think it was Gigi Hadid and some of the others.
Oh, was that from Ja Rule's party?
Yeah, well, and Ja Rule got out of it scot-free.
Yeah.
You're talking about the one where they bought that island to throw a big rave on.
They rented out the island and everything.
I got a ticket to go there.
You be thankful you didn't go.
Yeah.
Because the documentaries, and here's why I'm bringing it up. Sam, do you know that they let that man out of prison earlier this year? And I had no idea. And I just saw an interview with him yesterday. Guess what he's doing? He's organizing another one.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. The guy's a fraud. No, he's a fraud. That's what he does.
But maybe this time he'll actually make it.
Well, he said this time everybody's going to be invited. I'm like, well, where are you going to have it at? Is a state park?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't follow that too closely. I heard about it, and I think I saw the trailer for the docu series on Netflix, but I never watched any of that stuff, and it didn't really interest me.
Watch them both, because I was shocked that Ja Rule got out of it scot-free, but one of the workers, Billy McFarland, borrowed his American Express card. Why the guy gave it to him, I don't know. The guy he said he wasn't paying attention. Billy said, hey, can I borrow your American Express card? I need to just purchase something right quick. The guy gives it to him. Billy racks up a whole bunch of stuff on it, right? Now the guy, when Billy got arrested, because of what Billy did with his American Express card, the feds went after his worker too. So the worker ended up facing a prosecution, and I think he has to pay some kind of restitution, and he had nothing to do with it. But Ja Rule, and just in my opinion, at some point he had to know what was going on. He skated out of prosecution and 2 lawsuits. He just completely walked, and not only did he walk, but he stole one of Billy's ideas for a business to start.
I don't think Ja Rule knew, honestly. I think he knew at the last moment, like a week before it was supposed to happen. I think that's when he started having a clue. Like,
yeah, he didn't initially, but it was like, come on, dude. Like,
he should have been on top of it, but I guess he figured that everybody else, the event coordinators, would figure that out, you know. But and especially because the hurricane came at that time.
Yeah.
So how would they predict that? Go ahead.
Yeah. But the workers knew it though. The people that were interacting with Ja Rule, like they knew it. And we look at the documentary, they were saying, they were like, hey, they started asking Billy questions, and they were telling him, they were like, look, we don't have the money to pay for this stuff. Like there was emails going around and everything. The entire staff knew what was going to happen. And so that's why I was like, I find a hard time believing that Ja Rule didn't figure it out, you know, sooner than he did. Now, he was probably smart enough to keep it to himself, but for him to completely escape, and then one of their employees who had nothing to do with it to face federal prosecution and then have to pay restitution for something that Billy did with his property, I was scratching my head at that one. And now the guy's out of prison. He served 4 years. Out of the 6 years, he's got to pay $28 million in restitution. And now here he is trying to make another Fire Fest. As if anybody's going to give this man a dime to invest.
I'll go. I want to go to Fire.
See, this is why I like watching stuff about fictional things. The whole point of escapism is to not deal with the fucked up shit in real life.
Oh my God, get into real life, Samuel. This is why I watch stuff on North Korea. This is why I have a North Korean obsession. This is
I
why.
live in real life. If I want to watch something that will entertain me, I would rather it doesn't, involve that.
Samuel, real life is entertaining enough if you only knew.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I'm fully aware. That's why escapism exists.
Samuel, I mean, look at your face.
Right.
No, I'm joking, Samuel.
That's
well, like entertainment. Look at your face, Samuel.
That's hurtful but true.
Real life is so entertaining to me. I get bored with fantasy stuff because I'm like, what, weird animals and I'm just. Oh, Super Suka says, "What's going on with ye?" His real.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. True story. True story. This is not a piece of art. It's a photograph.
It's a real baby picture. It's his baby picture.
You jump off a roofie like how do you jump off a roofie? I mean, it's a pill.
I had a roofie before. I'm joking.
No, I know what he's saying. It's probably a typo, but yeah. No, it just. I think this is why I like horror movies, for example. But I like a specific kind of horror movie. Like I don't watch shit like Hostel, for example, because it's torture porn and that kind of crap happens in real life.
Oh, that's scary. That stuff had me not being able to sleep for a while.
I don't like torture porn. What I like is things like Hellraiser, where a lot of the same awful shit happens, but it's all at the behest of a guy with nails in his face who comes out of a magical box.
Oh, so that's your disclaimer, right? That's your.
There is an element of fantasy to it that allows me to enjoy it without having to worry about it fucking happening to me or one of my kids.
Oh, he feels safe at night because there's a guy with needles.
I do. In fact, that's one of the reasons I like the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff is because Freddy is a dream demon. The odds that he's going to enter my dreams and murder me are pretty freaking slim on account of he's not real.
What if you dream him up though?
I mean,
So, you go into Larry's dreams and ruin them all the time. This is real. This really happens.
Larry dreams of me.
Hey.
Only nightmares.
Well, that brings something up. Larry dreams of me, guys. So
I am not gay. I have relationships with women. sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you gay.
Oh, sorry, dude. I was looking for an excuse to play that.
Yeah, I'm sure you were. I ought to tell these people what you really look like.
Yeah, Larry,
Exactly, super.
you start, I'll finish it.
That's all right. I'm gonna get it back.
Suga, I don't think I've seen It Follows.
All I need to do is find a biker, a photo of a biker that looks like Santa Claus.
Look at Samuel trying to change the subject. We're trying to talk about his face, and he's looking in the chat like, "Oh, I've never seen It Follows." Nobody.
Look at this.
Yeah. Look at this. It's so interesting.
Suka asked me a question. I was answering it.
He's super soaking those three. He knows 3 letters. Well, let's change the subject.
I know. You see, this is the second time he's done that, Larry. It's changed subject on us when we're talking about something.
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about, Shadow? You know you haven't.
We gotta wait till we do your show on Saturday and then really put him on blast.
Oh,
but hey, speaking of that, I'm gonna type up what I said to you. I'm gonna type that up tomorrow so you can get a good look at. That way you're not just looking up links.
Yeah, I have to study tomorrow. I gotta study for Saturday. Gotta get my studies on so I can be ready. We can do.
Yeah, we got actually, Amira, if you're interested, before your show, if you want to, you're more than welcome to come on SITV. I think we're going to talk about, the nature of faith this week.
Well, the thing is, I love to come on your show, but the thing is, you're right before me, and you're usually in my study hours. That's usually when I'm studying and mentally sorting. Whatever.
I'm not trying to twist your arm. I'm just saying you're welcome if you care to join us.
No. And I was just explaining why most of the time I don't make it. It's because of that reason. But I could try. Yeah. Is gonna be there?
Is who? Kat? Oh, Kat will be there. Yes, and I'm going to try to see if I can get Lady Gravemaster on as well.
Who is that?
She is a YouTuber. She also used to moderate for Nerdrotic, and run. I think she produced for him too for a while. But she is a very in her faith married woman.
What
and all that. She's Catholic, I believe.
Good luck to her.
Well, my point is I was hoping to get like a variety of views on from different perspectives, and so that we could talk about the nature of faith.
I see. So who's the heathen? Who's the heathen then?
Me.
Yeah, I thought. Okay, I was just making sure.
We
have a heathen Muslim.
I think I'll stop by as well. But I think if I have that list to you tomorrow, and I'm gonna get up early tomorrow in the morning anyway, so I'll have it ready. That way, that takes a lot off of you.
Yeah,
it would be interesting to see your perspective on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Shadow, possibly. I will see about that. I might be able to squeeze you into the panel if you'd like on that.
MGTOW club. I just got off of this MGTOW stuff right now.
Yeah, well, I meant what I said earlier. We had a conversation earlier as a result of a thing that happened earlier this evening. And I said something that I stand by 100%, is that some of these MGTOW sons of bitches, like, they are so far into that shit that they're every bit as bad as the feminazis on the other side. Every fucking bit.
That's a good question for you, Amira, is where does, and I'll say not just the Christian faith, but also like the Muslim faith, where does it stand amidst all the MGTOW stuff? Because it's like, I know people that are religious and people who aren't, and MGTOW's gotten big enough to where I almost want to say that it kind of causes some confusion with people, because they have something that they've grown up with their entire lives that are, say, ideally a relationship between a man and a woman should be this way, and these are how the things are supposed to go. But society is so warped that the religious idea of how you're supposed to form those relationships, don't work. Not even within I'll even say even within the Christian churches, you see a lot of divorce and
Well,
Wow.
that's not true, Super Suka. That's not true at all. I don't know why you say that, Suka. Maybe you're joking. Maybe he's just joking, but that's not true. But no, MGTOW has no place in religion because the idea of men supposedly going their own way, or is it that men going their own way until women get straight? Is that the point, or is it that they're saying that forever they're just going to be alone? Because one thing is that it's not natural for a woman to be in that position of going her own way, and it's not natural for a man to go his own way like that. We're supposed to know how to work together and multiply. We're supposed to be multiplying and staying together and being communities and teams and caring for one another. We're not supposed to be these isolated people that just, oh, well, if I don't get my way 100% of the time, then I'm not going to play. We're not supposed to do that. So,
Right. That's what it sounds like. Is like, you guys pissed me off, so I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to go home.
that's what it is essentially, and that's not what being a human is about. And the other thing is that I understand MGTOWs, and the majority of MGTOWs are not coming from incel world. The majority of them, if you see their content, are the ones that have been burned so many times from being with women who are divorced men who got everything taken from them because the court system is all about putting the punani, as they call it, on a pedestal. So this is why the men turn this way. I believe that MGTOW is good for a certain period of time for healing. If a man needs to heal after being crushed to the court system, MGTOW may be a way to help them. But I don't believe that MGTOW should be a forever lifestyle because it becomes religion in itself.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I mean, you and I have discussed some pretty personal stuff between the two of us, and so that you know where I stand on that. And my other problem is like I get men wanting to build up their lives and focus on their careers and focus on building a life for themselves before bringing somebody in that they vet totally, so that there are no surprises and all that kind of thing. I understand that. I do. I understand trying to better yourself before you build a life with someone else. However, some of these guys take it so far that it becomes exactly what the feminists keep calling them. It becomes a hatred of women.
But really, can you blame them at this point?
To a certain degree, being a man who's been through some shit, I don't disagree with their points. I disagree with where they end up when they follow that road. That's my problem. And also, I have daughters. This is a huge problem for me. These guys running around talking, saying all this awful shit to women.
Yeah.
And that's, and if I can interject for a minute, Amira, it's because I agree 100% with what Samuel was saying. Oh man, I just lost my train of thought because I'm trying to.
Are you talking about your kids? Were you going to go into like your kid, or what were you? Because you said
It's just, man, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. It's just the whole, like, I understand, where MGTOW is coming from also. Though I think what I was asking with the religious aspect of it, did things get as far as they've gotten now because people aren't adhering? They're either disregarding maybe religions that they may or may not have been, say if somebody grew up in a religious household and then as soon as they hit 18, they were like, forget that, I'm gonna go do my own thing. So is it a thing of, hey, you ended up in this situation because you didn't adhere to the beliefs that were instilled in you, like and there's always a chance, even within any religious institution, there's always a chance that something bad can go wrong because we're human beings. But is it less of an impact among, I'll use the Muslim faith, for example, among the Muslim community, is it less of an impact even now as opposed to people who are, just out there doing their own thing? If that makes any sense.
That doesn't make sense at all. The question you said, is it less of an impact now? What less of an impact?
I mean, is there less incidences of relationships not working out in the Muslim community versus people who are not Muslim? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, of course. Muslim relationships tend to last a lot longer. We tend to do, but that's also because we don't have women like Western people have. Like, it all depends on women. But the thing is, I think that the MGTOW community is blaming more the women than the system that the women are raised. I bring this up all the time, that Western women, the reason that they're effed the way that they are is not because of their nature per se. It's because they are ignorant and unprotected. Ignorant because their mothers never told them the value of their body, the value of their virginity, the value of their chastity and submission to the group, to their family. They never taught them that. So the women are ignorant and unprotected because many of them grow up without fathers, and they are unprotected and not watched after. They're not cared for. They're not, when a teenage girl leaves home in America, it's rare that you'll see their parents calling like, "Where are you? Get home now." I rarely see that. I see girls out hours and hours freely, and nobody knows where they are until dinner time, and they're like, "Oh, it's dinner time. Where's Sally?" No, our parents, our fathers, we can't do anything without daddy knowing. And that's just the difference between us and them. We are fully protected at all times, no matter what. If it's not our father, it's our brother. If it's not our brother, it's our cousin. If it's not the cousin, it's our uncle. If it's not them, it's the neighbor. We are just completely watched after. And I see that Western women don't do that. Western families don't do that because they believe in privacy and independence, and you do your life and have your life and be free. And that is unprotection. They're not protected. So that's why I say unprotection and ignorance is what brought this to. And then also the state. The state is all about women and children. And, damn the man. You don't care about the men. And I think that's another reason why we see that men have lost faith in the system. They've lost faith in marriage as a whole.
Bingo.
Lost faith in women.
Bingo.
The system completely backs up the bad behavior of women. So it's almost a little bit of a circle. It's like, it's not just the woman, it's the family. It's not just the family, it's the state. And it comes back to the woman. It's all of these things that are working around the men. And the men, there's no refuge for men because the police are against you, the state, the court, the woman, the family, the society, everything is against you when something goes wrong. And that's why I understand why men turn MGTOW. I get it. But at the same time, it's not healthy.
No, it isn't. And I bingo as far as the faith thing, the faith connection, bringing that back to when you said MGTOW has no place in religion. That's exactly it. They have lost faith. You cannot participate in a religion without some measure of faith, and they've lost faith in everything, not just their God or their religion or whatever, but in life, in themselves, in the system that they live under. And that's a huge problem. But I would say,
sorry, go ahead.
I would say, because Suka brings up the point about society destroys the family and turns people against each other. And I think to a degree you have a point there. And as far as blaming government and media, obviously they play a role, but a lot of these guys get into this headset where they're pure victims. It's none of it is their own fault. They never examine the choices that they made that led to the choosing of the mates that didn't work out.
I mean, but dare I say that men are more victims than women? In this society that we're living in at this current time, men are more victims than women.
Sure. But in order to get past this stuff, in order to really heal, they got to understand where they fucked up too.
I mean, you could say, oh, he picked the wrong woman, right? But at this point, is there any real right woman? Because every woman can turn and go to the system on you. So is there really a good choice out there?
Sure, that's always a possibility, but it's also possible that you could step out into the street and get hit by a car at any given time.
Oh, please. This is the state, Samuel.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's the risk is inherent to life, but I do think that if they understand, the choices that they made, and maybe some of these guys are full on, like, had the wool pulled over their eyes and all that stuff, and none of it's really their fault at all. I examined my failed relationships very closely. I know where I fucked up. I also know where I didn't. And that will enable me in the future, should I choose to pursue a marriage or any kind of serious relationship again, it will enable me to not make those same mistakes and make brand new ones.
Right.
Well,
So
look, right, and look at what Shadowhawk said. I mean,
Mhm.
he hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, and he brings up a good point. And the way that society is right now, you're absolutely right to be scared. You
Very-
absolutely are, because it's everything is designed to work against you. Speaking as a young man, and at that age, actually, I would recommend, maybe not, don't cut women out of your life, but focus on yourself, your priorities, where you want to be, build yourself a career, get some solid foundation underneath you before you even worry about a serious relationship. Build something that you can then bring someone who you can share that with in to build a whole life on top of. Because men and women are supposed to complement each other. They're supposed to prop each other up. They're supposed to be the other half of each other. That's how we're designed. And so, yeah, that's, and you're 19, man, you're young yet. You've got time. Don't worry too much about it. Just don't make any dumb mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, like, I worry for men. This is why you guys see on my channel, it's always, men's rights, because I worry for men, because what is the right decision when a woman could wake up tomorrow? You could have married the perfect girl, the perfect conservative girl who told you that she would never do this and never do that. And, you break her heart. And then tomorrow she just wakes up and says, you know what? I'm going to the police. I'm going to the state 911. And she ruins you because she has all the power. The state will automatically believe her. And even if they don't automatically believe her, society will believe her over you, which will put a stain on your reputation no matter what. And that's why I say, is there any right choice for a man? I don't know.
Well, I've seen online there's a movement, and I'm sure you've heard of the passport bros, where they're saying, hey, leave America and go abroad and get a woman over there. But I dare say, well, eventually they're going to come back here.
Right.
And once they see how the system is over here, and I've seen that in real time. I've seen someone, I know guys that have gone overseas, married women overseas, and then as soon as they got back, it wasn't even a month, 2 or 3 months later, when their wives realized how much freedom they had over here, they couldn't control them.
Well, don't let his wife find American friends and they start, having drinks and lunch together and talking, because the women are going to say, oh, you didn't know you get half? You didn't know that, if you divorce him, you get half of everything? Oh, you didn't know that you can get child support? Just get pregnant, have a baby, and you can take him for all he's got.
That happened to a buddy of mine. He got over here. He married a girl in El Salvador, brought her back, and he's Salvadorian too. And when she got over here, I think he said it was maybe about a month, and they were filing for divorce.
Right.
She was already cheating on him with somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, I see women that come over here and, within the first few weeks of their marriage, oh, I'm pregnant. She hurries up and gets pregnant very fast because she knows that's the way that she can grab them by the huevos, have them by the huevos, have a baby. And that's messed up. But at the same time, I've always said you don't deserve child support unless you've been married. But even if you've been married for that kind of short period of time, I will be suspicious of you as a judge. If I were a judge, I would still not award you child support, because if you just getting married to this person and you just pop up pregnant, if you're an immigrant, illegal, if you're an immigrant coming from another country and you pop up pregnant that fast, I would be suspicious of you. And I would say, no, you're not going to get child support. I don't know. I just see that certain situations, the women take advantage of this. This is why they do the things that they do, because they know they can take everything from the men. And I've seen men, guys, that all because they're paying child support, they can't afford their normal life, and they are just struggling and still giving money to the child and the mother. And they had never been married. He didn't even want the child in the first place. And now he's getting 70% of his check taken away from him to pay to. And this man, you see these men, they're ready to kill themselves. They're ready to off themselves, because it's like, what is there to live for at this point? I'm working, and 70% of my check is getting given to them or to the state or what have you. because the state takes around, I forget how much the state takes. I don't know if it's 3 or 30% of the child support payments. The
I
state
think
is
it's like 30, isn't it?
Depends on the state.
something like that. And the state is invested in making sure that you pay to her, not because they care about that child, but because they want their cut.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
it
my
depends
thing.
on the state. The state that I got to go through child support takes 17%, I believe. But they still, they're very invested in getting that money. They wouldn't care if they didn't get a cut.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. I think that actually all of that Department of Family Services, the Social Security, the welfare state, all of that shit is designed specifically to make money on broken homes.
Yeah.
Precisely, just like divorce lawyers. I mean, you guys know I work in law, and divorce lawyers, they are just like, Suka, no, you had see. This is why I don't like to talk about anything, because then I'm gonna be oh my God. I'm not trying to. I believe in families and marriages and children. You guys know that, but you have to get a woman.
Smart.
Yeah, you can't just go. I don't know what to say to the men, because sometimes you think you found a great one, and then I don't know.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I said earlier, I have daughters. I don't want them pulling this shit on men when they get older. I don't want them doing that. It ain't right. But I also want them to be treated well.
Well, you have to teach them the value of a man. That a man is not just valued for what he can bring you, what he can provide for you. That this man is someone's son. I think that's what you have to do, because that's how I see men. I see men as sons of someone. These are people that women carried in their arms and gave the world to. This is why I look at men. I don't look at them as the ATM, my walking ATM, or what can you provide for me? Oh, you better go out there and work. Bring me home the money. No, and that's the problem with a lot of women. They see men as almost subhuman, because they're like, oh, well, men, they can never cry. They don't have feelings. All they do is cheat, lie. And especially watching Lifetime. Did you guys know a channel called Lifetime?
Yeah, you mean television for victims?
Yeah.
I recently found that channel, and I
Really?
watched,
They've been around for decades.
Been around for decades.
every movie I watch is somebody being a rapist or beating his wife, and I'm like, what is this?
Right, and it's usually Zach from Saved by the Bell. I have heard of that channel. I have seen some stuff on that channel. They call it Lifetime Television for Women, but I have been calling it Television for Victims since the 90s.
Yeah, that channel's been around for
horrific. And if men were to make a channel like that, with all of the crap that women do on full display, women would there would be protests in the streets. Oh yeah. They would be protests in the streets. Oh, how dare they paint us like that? It's like, you look at how you paint men on Lifetime.
Yeah. Real quick, Shadow, you have no idea.
Suka says you're red pill.
Yeah.
Man,
I cry once a year in the shower, a single man tear.
I'm burgundy.
IRS has guns now, but Sasquatch, IRS has had guns for years, haven't they? They weren't really using them. But I could have sworn they had a little section of the IRS that was always armed.
They had a limited armory, specifically for certain field agents who were going after people like Al Capone. For example, Elliot Ness was an armed IRS agent, but it wasn't super common for tax collectors to go door to door with a pistol on their on their shoulder or whatever.
Oh, I wish he would come to my house with a pistol. I'm always armed. We can both play. I love a game of Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Oh, am I not allowed to say that? I'm sorry. Sam.
No. I'm laughing. You can say whatever you like. You know how I feel about that.
I'll be good.
Yeah. The shit she said about my face earlier, and she thinks I'd have a problem with this.
Well, you do look like the photo that you have up right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
And your avatar. You do look just
Yeah.
A little bit.
The beard's a
That
little
is-
long and a little bit, tentacle-y.
Yeah. That's true. It's a lot harder to play without a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could, but We can do
Will
finger
it be
banging.
throwing stick? Throwing stick? I prefer Georgia roulette. Mm. Well, in our case, it wouldn't be Russian roulette because if he would have a gun, the tax guy has a gun, and I have a gun. Well, this would just be a Wild Western movie, right?
Be a
Wild
Mexican
Wild.
standoff. Yeah.
Yeah, Mexican standoff. There it is. So it wouldn't be Russian roulette. It would be a Mexican standoff. Orale.
Yeah, Suga, I could do that. I am very technically bad at things, so that's why with the I'm not good at that kind of thing. Knives and coins they could work, I guess. I don't know. It's not as surprising though when you lose.
Yeah, but no, Amir, I agree with everything that you just said. I mean, you know who just got bent over yesterday in family court is Kanye West.
Well, that's a shame because Kanye actually seems like, a decent, like he wants to be there for the kids. That's a shame.
She got, not only is she getting $200,000 a month, but that house that he just bought that's right next door to her,
Right.
she got that. And I think he got a house that they have in Belgium, the house he grew up in, and something else. But I'm like, at this point, she's got more money than him. Why is he coughing up too? And they have joint custody. But they said because she has the kids most of the time, the judge said he has to pay 50%. And I'm like, you got this guy paying $200,000 a month until all these kids are grown. Where is he going to get the money? His life currently is being destroyed because of what he said is actively. And then if you look at if you saw the Tim Pool interview, he even said that he had found out that morning that, as he called, they were trying to put him in jail for tax evasion. They were saying that he owed money.
Yeah, they are coming for him, and he knows it. And I'm so happy that he's exposing this. Validation Boy, if you guys remember him, do you guys remember Validation Boy?
I've never heard of him.
He used to come to my channel all the time. I have interviews with him on my channel. But he's a guy who always talks about they, and he does, instead of doing the two quotations, you do three, and that's how you know you're talking about they. You know what I mean? So they, he always talks about them, and he's right. Like, and and they call us racist because we pointed out it's not racism. Observing a fact and noticing it and saying what it is, and Kanye exposing this is exposing the dirt, the secrecy, the inside clubs, all that stuff. I mean, I appreciate Kanye for doing it. What do you guys think?
Well, I think what happened to him yesterday is just the beginning. I mean, I don't. The moment he can't make those child support payments, he's in trouble. And if he's hurting for money, and I don't know how much he's got, but if he is,
well, he's a billionaire. Kanye right now is a billionaire. Also, Kim is a billionaire, I believe. As well.
That's why I'm like, why is he coughing up $200,000 a month, and she's a billionaire too?
He's a billionaire. Exactly.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's because it's geared because divorce court and child support cases are geared towards taking from the men and giving to the women, so that this, like we said, the state can take their cut, and it is based on your salaried income or whatever. So, he makes quite a bit more than that a month. So it's probably, I would say, in the range.
Is he right now though? Because he's losing.
Generally, yeah, and what they take into account is the last 3 months of his income. They're not going to take into account the future. In the future, he will still be held to this $200,000 a month, even if his income drops drastically below and he cannot afford it. They'll still make him pay it.
Well, they'll have to they can do a readjustment, just like Larry's about to say. They can adjust after.
Because I'll tell you what, because if he gets down to nothing, I mean, yeah, he's in California. Well, that whole thing was done in California, so who knows? But she's still making money. At some point, I mean, I have to agree with you. At some point, if I'm a judge, I'd be like, well, wait a minute. He lost all his money. You're still a billionaire. How are you? If anything, you guys were married. I might have to assign some alimony to this guy because he's got nothing.
Well, he does have stuff. He's not broke at all. You know that he is a billionaire. The thing is, their thinking is that she is already paying for the private school. She's paying for the children's security. They have their security guards. She also upped the security guards recently, so that's going to cost quite a bit. They're also thinking about the houses and homes that will be handed down to the children in the future. I think what they're trying to do is to make sure that Kanye doesn't get away with trying to give anything to anyone else or having a new girlfriend or something or what have you. I think they're trying to make sure that those kids will have everything from him. I'm not sure, but that's what it seems like because you mentioned them taking away the houses and everything.
Yeah, from what I read, she got like 10 houses out of the deal. Like, how many houses did they have?
Yeah,
too much. It's I don't know. The whole thing's jacked up. As far as they go, however, I don't believe that he was at any point saying anything negative about an entire demographic of people. He was speaking specifically about the people who were coming after him.
No, he did say something about them. He said if you look at the top channels or the top
right, and
media,
he was.
he said,
However, yes, that's true, but he was not talking about like say I'm just going to say it every
Just
Jew on planet Earth.
Just everybody in general.
Yeah, I don't think he was being as they say anti-Semitic. I think he was looking at some statistical facts and what is it that they say? If you want to know who's in charge, look at who you can't criticize.
Well, you can't talk about, but Samuel, Dave Chappelle already told us this a few years ago back. He's the one who said,
and they tried to get him too.
Well, the thing is, Dave Chappelle was saying he was trying to say it in so many words, but Kanye just came out and said it in plain English. And this is what you don't do. It doesn't matter because what they're going to do is try to pull the anti-Semitism card on you in order to shut you up. Like, shut up. You don't need to speak about that because we need Americans to hate white people. We need you to hate the white man, not notice who's actually the puppeteer in the back because it's not the white man. But whatever. Okay.
Well, I think that's part of why
you're about to join the ranks of Michael Jackson, Mel Gibson.
That's exactly right. I think he's being as vocal as possible right now because I think he knows full well what's coming. He's going to end up broke, destitute, possibly in an asylum, possibly in an early grave.
Well, that's why he needs to depend on the Republican Party. He needs to go further right so that we can accept him and take care of him as a conservative. Because if not, like Donald Trump, get into Donald Trump's good graces. So that
Trump's pissed off at him.
Yeah, I know that sucks. See, if he messes it up with us, he's really screwed. He needs
and then on Tim Pool, he called Trump a liar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said a bunch of random shit in between everything that got clipped on that show too. In the 27 minutes he was on air there.
He really needs to keep his friends with us. He really needs to keep some friends because if he doesn't have the conservatives on his side, the liberals definitely aren't going to accept him. Then the conservatives won't, and the media won't. Hollywood won't back him up. He doesn't have a wife anymore or a family unit. I don't know what he'll do, so he has to be careful.
If he's smart, he'll do what Dave Chappelle did and he'll get the hell out for a while.
Kanye was just on Alex Jones' Suka.
Yeah, he was.
He was on your uncle's show.
He's getting more public. He's on my uncle's show. Exactly. He's being more and more public. That's guys. I have to go now, though. I have to go. Thank you guys for having me, though.
Thank you for being here. I will have your channel link down in the description just as soon as possible.
Do you want to plug anything?
Yeah.
No. I'm okay. I'll see you guys on Saturday.
All right. I'll plug your shit for you.
I'll have the list for you tomorrow.
Bye then. All right, Larry. Bye.
All right. Good night. Always a pleasure to have her on.
Yeah, guys. Hope you like the surprise. And that was totally last minute. Like.
Yeah, I was walking up to my house because neither of my vehicles are working, so I'm walking home. It's probably 25 steady wind and 40
that's not good.
mile an hour gusts. walking home in this shit. And so I just get up to the porch and I pull out my phone and I see I've got like 9 text messages between these two on there that I didn't hear because, you know, it was windy. And so I was just like, yeah, man, if you want to throw her a link, I'll be there in a minute. And she jumped in before he did.
How far away do you live from your job?
About 1.5 miles. And there's a hill in between here and there
Oh,
with a
dude,
big
that's-
cemetery on it.
Don't suppose you could sell one of your cars and then take the money that you get and fix the other one.
Sure, if one of them was worth selling.
You never know. I mean, well, what do you own?
I've got a 2002 Hyundai Sonata and a 1999 Ford Taurus. And the Taurus is the one I'd like to keep because it's actually in better condition. And I have a fix for that. I just haven't had time to do it yet. The other one might be toast. So, but I will.
Junkyard will probably get money for it.
Yeah, but you know, it is what it is. Hey, I will be right back if you want to talk with the audience or something. I have to desperately do. I have to pee.
I don't think everybody needed to know that.
I have to make yellow.
Drink some water.
I've been drinking water. That's the problem. I'll be right back,
It
guys.
should be clear. All right, guys. Well, it is just us until he gets back. What's up, Ozzy? What do you mean? Oops. What did you do? Oh, people. Well, guys, hey, listen. Yeah, like I was saying, I hope that you guys liked our surprise. The line is showing up, and it really was last minute. Like I just popped up in the back maybe about 15 minutes before we came on, and she was in the back. And I was like, what the hell is she doing here? But you know, she's always welcome. And you know, guys, be sure to check her out Saturday. We definitely should have some good stuff for you guys. I mean, it's been a busy week in the news, so we definitely got plenty to talk about. Hope it comes out okay. You know what, Sasquatch? If he's peeing outside, he might get stuck. They'll come right out and freeze, and he'll be stuck outside. Oh, let's see. Guys, again, thank you for coming to the show. No contact, be fine. I don't know about that. So, what do you guys think about the whole Kanye conversation? The whole Kanye situation. I hear.
What did he say about William while I was gone?
You missed probably me being ignored completely by the chat and a funny exchange between Sasquatch, Ozzy, and Super.
Yeah, good deal. What were we on?
So here's what I'm suggesting, because we're already like half at pretty much, well, half our show is over. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is
good. Sorry, I wasn't saying good to you. I was responding to Suka talking about me peeing. Good.
Let's cut to Dylan's new nightmare. So,
all right, let me pull that up then.
Well, let me set it up. So, guys, I was looking at the entertainment news yesterday. I wanted to, get some good entertainment topics for you guys tonight. We're still changing the show, morphing, and we want to have things as fresh as possible for you guys. And I came across this independent short film about A Nightmare on Elm Street by Freddy Krueger, and I think it's based off of Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and it's called the guy that's doing it. It's called Dylan's New Nightmare. Freddy's, I call it Freddy's back, kind of, but it's Dylan's New Nightmare, and Indiegogo actually has a trailer for it, and it's they're using the YouTube engine, so I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. But I watched the trailer. Whoever the voice actor is, very close to Robert Englund, albeit in my opinion just a little forced, but pretty close. Closer
It might
than,
be him, dude, because he's
well, I mean, he's old
that
as
guy.
heck now.
Well, yeah, but he'll do voiceover work for like very little money.
Well,
the guy loves to work.
Yeah. All right. Well, if
All right,
you're ready,
well,
let's show the trailer.
we will do this. Now this would be Dylan, who was the little boy in Wes Craven's New Nightmare, correct? Nancy's kid, or not Nancy's, Heather Langenkamp's kid.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
All right.
It's been 25 years. 25 years locked in a mental prison with no means of escape. Nothing to do but wait and watch. Trapped in the mind of a little piggy that escaped the slaughter.
Yep, that's that Dylan.
Too weak to defeat the Guardian. Until now. Now it's time to have some fun.
Time to get a new voice actor.
What's that?
Time to get a new voice actor.
Yeah. I don't know that it was pretty close to the Freddy voice though. Yeah, I'll give you that. So,
like I said, close, just a little forced. Just a little forced. I think whoever's doing it, I think he just needs to ease up a little bit, and it'll be fine. The laugh is definitely forced.
Yeah, he hasn't even said bitch once. That was like his whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, did you saw Freddy versus Jason, right?
I did.
Okay, how many times did Freddy say the word bitch?
Oh,
in that
dude,
movie?
I didn't even count how many times.
That's like his favorite word.
He lost like I thought he was too, though.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you're not beating Jason in the real world, dead or not.
You're right, and Ozzy, I agree. He does sound quite a bit like Robert Englund. Like I said, it could be. You're right. The laugh doesn't sound like him at all. But otherwise, yeah, it could easily be him because he does a lot of low budget stuff. And this is a fan film, but he's been known to be very very good to his fans.
Yeah.
So who knows? Yeah. All right.
After all, Dylan, we still never got to play Skin the Cat.
That's a cool effect.
They messed up the trailer though, man. They're skipping.
It
was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot more fluid on Indiegogo. You see how it's jumping?
Yeah, it's looking pretty smooth to me, but it might just be my internet. So that's entirely possible. But
I think that is the kid though. I think that is the guy that was actually the kid.
It does look like it. It does look quite a bit like him, like he would, say 25 years later, which is about how long it's been since that movie came out. I also like the nice touch. The first thing that Freddy does is fucking take out Rex, because Rex who fought him off in the last movie.
Yeah.
So that was a nice touch.
He even says it in the trailer that it was what was keeping him at bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So no, that was a pretty cool touch. I like that, and I liked that effect where Rex was bleeding was a very cool effect, actually.
Yeah,
it's starting to get laggy. Yeah, honestly, it's probably my fucking internet. So
yeah, you know what? It's slated to come out sometime next year.
Mm.
So I mean, I love independent films, especially if I mean, these days you can use an iPhone or even a good Android and make an indie film look like a big budget. You know, if the phone's strong enough.
Man, James Gunn shoots movies on iPhones.
Yeah.
You know, that's factual. He does that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna try. Let's try and get through this, and hopefully it doesn't like lag too much for you guys. It's smooth and clear on my end.
It's a little jumpy, but and if you look at
returning is Dylan Porter. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, and if you look at the article on it, look at because the article shows you what Freddy looks like in the film, and
Yeah,
it's going.
Yeah, I'll bring that up in just a second. I want to see what this says about who's playing Krueger. If it says anything. Nope,
I don't
doesn't
think
say
it
anything.
does.
Well, still though, that is cool that they got the kid back. That's pretty neat. I like that. Yeah, let me see about pulling that other thing up. So we can all see. Got to get my my poop in a group. And by the way, guys, if the stuff's choppy or doesn't sound right or whatever, I will have the links for all of these in the description by the time I'm finished going back over shit after the stream is over. So you'll be able to go see it yourself. Because on the video that it was perfectly clear on my end. So it is up on YouTube and it should be all right that way. So let's see, Dylan's New Nightmare. All right. So here we got Dylan's New Nightmare. Images reveal first look at Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street fan-made movie. Miko Hughes, who played Dylan Porter in Wes Craven's New Nightmare, reprises his role. That is pretty freaking cool. I don't care about Nightmare Pooh.
Nightmare Pooh. See how he looks?
Not bad. Not bad at all. That makeup job's not terrible.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I'd have to see it in action, like to see how his mouth and his eyes move.
And see the way you brought up the article, how I saw the screen is all black around it. When I brought up the article, it wasn't like that. Like you could actually see, you could clearly see it, and it's that makeup job is good enough to give you some good nightmares. I mean, it's the best I've seen. I mean, it looks like something that Wes Craven himself thought of.
Yeah. Ah, damn it. Well, now you guys have seen behind the curtain. I could have just gone up here and hit the X like a pro, but instead I had to behave like a noob. So, but yeah, no, right there, that doesn't look too bad. As that appears to be the only image of him on here.
Yeah, that was the only image.
But yeah, just from what I'm seeing, it looks good. Like they got the chunks taken out of his right ear a little bit. That's pretty sweet. I'm a little wonky on the glove, just from what we saw in the thing and what we're seeing here. It looks very flimsy. The blades do.
There you go, killing all the fun again.
I'm just putting that out there. But again, I'd have to see like the movie itself to be any judge. And, who knows? It might be great. Some fan made stuff is excellent.
Oh yeah. And it's well known, or in certain circles, horror movies are some of the they're the cheapest movies to make.
Oh yeah,
they can be. So, a good enough budget, you can, And let's face it, I mean, with the editing and the kind of software that's out there today, I mean, you can pretty much you can create anything you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might be great. I don't know. We'll have to see though. You said this comes out summer of 2023.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
and I don't think they'd be advertising it if it hadn't been fully funded. So that's good. Indiegogo's a little weird. They started to be a little bit ESG oriented recently, particularly with Comicsgate creators kind of stuff. Apparently, some of them are either they're like, if you go onto Indiegogo to help back one of their projects or some shit like that, apparently it redirects you in circles and you never actually find the page that you're looking for.
Well, that's weird.
Thing. Yeah, no, I think it's only happening with certain creators, who express certain opinions vocally. So I don't know, but yeah, I would probably check this out.
Wow, really, Ozzy? The original film had $1,000 budget. Oh, $1 million. $1 million.
Yeah, that makes that tracks.
That makes more sense.
The original Hellraiser in 1987, I think they made that for just under $90,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and some of those effects hold up today. Some of them don't, but what are you gonna do? Like the beast in the hallways, you can clearly see the thing behind it that it's rolling on. You're not supposed to see it. It's visible as hell. Oh.
But a lot of movies are riddled with that. I remember the Ninja Turtles came out, and there was a scene where Donatello was laughing. They were in the kitchen, and he was laughing, and the person in the turtle suit opened the mouth too wide and leaned back, and you could see his teeth, and you could see the guy's teeth and his tongue and everything, like all the way in the back. But I've always seen that's a good. I'm gonna put that on for next week, like outtakes, things in movies that people didn't catch, where it was I think there's movies where you could see the director standing in the background or somebody talking, not paying attention.
Yeah.
And they're in full view of the camera.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, I would check this out though. I'm glad you brought this to my attention. This is the first I've ever even heard of it. So
yeah, I just came across it earlier. Well, for me now it's yesterday, but I just came, just found it actually just before we went on. Maybe, well, not just before, probably, I want to say maybe around noon. And I came across it completely by accident. I don't even know what I was looking up that it came up. It had nothing to do with it. It just popped up.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The cocaine bear thing just came up recently too, but everybody's talking about it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Sort of like a couple months ago, everybody was talking about blood and honey.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That kind of fell off. I don't even know if that came out or not.
I don't know either. That's actually that's an interesting thought.
So, but yeah, I don't know. That apparently Elon just permanently banned Kanye. Honestly, I don't care.
Yeah, well, I just looked at the heading. Ye vehemently defends Hitler in unsettling interview.
Jesus, dude, learn when to shut your mouth. I mean, y'all know how I feel about free speech, right? But fucking read the room. I was like, just because
Dude.
it's like mad science, man. Just because you can build a Frankenstein monster doesn't mean you should. You know? But yeah. Ninja Turtles, though, he brings up Ninja Turtles here, and that was actually
was close.
before Blair Witch, it was the highest grossing independent film of all time.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because they made that on a pretty low budget, and they raked in a bunch of money. I'm gonna actually look up those numbers right now because I'm curious. But yeah, it was
You know, honestly though, if you really think about, how it really went, like how that whole story went. I mean, I can see it's not like there was high explosions or anything like that. It was just straight up down to earth martial arts.
wow. Yeah, but it wasn't just about that. Like the suits that the actors were wearing had fully animatronic heads. Each of them were controlled by like 4 different guys. The micro
Oh
expressions
yeah,
and all that stuff.
yeah,
I mean, they did some intense practical effects work that wasn't
yeah.
exactly cheap. Now this says that they had a budget of about $13.5 million is what they made
Okay,
that movie on.
that sounds right.
They grossed 202 million.
And for you talking 1990 or 19,
Yeah,
1990. Yeah,
1990. Yeah, and it was a Blair Witch Project that knocked it off the top grossing independent film of all time.
a film that was nowhere near as good.
No, not at all. But it was also made for a fraction of what they made Ninja Turtles for, and it made a bunch of money. It did. Part of the reason it made that much money, though, was not just because because it was an independent film, but because they tried to make it the best movie they could with what they had. And they did. They turned out to. It's got some cheesy shit in it, sure, but I think there's even one scene where you can see the actor's eyes behind Michelangelo's teeth. But it's a brief moment and all that stuff. But no, they did. They turned out a good product with good characters, good story, and people came around it. Plus, Ninja Turtles was pretty popular. The toy line was pretty popular at that time, and I think they still were running that Saturday morning cartoon that was a little cheesy.
They have so many. Well, first of all, the original cartoon was outstanding. It was
That I didn't say it wasn't good. I just said it was a little cheesy.
No, it wasn't. And you always
a little bit cheesy.
You gotta put a.
It didn't seem cheesy at the time because I was 9.
Well, it still ain't cheesy. Now, the later iterations to me got cheesy.
Yeah, some of them really did. And the later movies. Did you see TMNT, the animated movie that's supposed to be like a sequel to the live action ones?
I think so.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And it was extremely well animated, especially the fights. It had some of the character designs I wasn't super keen on, but the actual the way the characters, I think it was mostly CGI, but the characters moved really, really well. And it was a pretty good movie. It certainly was better than Turtles in Time. I don't know if you guys remember that one where they went back to feudal Japan. And then a bunch of samurai dudes end up with Casey Jones in New York City.
And they switched out April O'Neil.
Yeah. No, they did that actually in the second movie. Paige Turco took over as April O'Neil in the second and third movie, and then it was Judith Hoag played her in the first movie.
Yeah.
Those didn't happen as far as I'm concerned. It's not a thing. And if it were a thing, it would be an awful, awful, awful thing. No. I did not like those movies. And I watched both of them. Like a jackass.
I was about to say, yeah, you're pretty transparent about that.
Yeah.
I thought Judith Hogue did. She did great though, man.
Oh, she
I
was,
don't
yeah,
I don't understand why they replaced her with Paige. And I was a Paige Turco fan as a kid,
money.
but I didn't understand why they switched them out.
It's money.
She wanted more money.
She wanted more money. They didn't want to pay more money. Yeah, basically comes down to that. That's usually why these things go. But as far as her performance goes, she was really good as April. Fun fact: you may not know this, but you might. But so Judith Hogue was working on a movie with Robin Williams when she got the script for Turtles.
Mhm.
Robin Williams, as it turns out, was a huge fan of the franchise. I mean, we're talking back in the Eastman and Laird black and white comic books where the foot soldiers weren't robots, they were people and they got killed violently and shit. And so he got excited for her and brought out his comic book collection and helped her research what she was getting into while they were working on another movie.
Yeah, that Robin.
Fun fact.
Well, I'll add that. Add that to next week's list. Fun facts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, actually, the 1990 movie is without getting like super graphic. It was actually probably the closest thing on screen that has ever been to the original comic books. It's almost beat for beat the first story arc, with the exception of Baxter Stockman and the Mousers are not in it. Everything else is more or less how it happened. And there are some darker things in it. There are a few of the foot soldiers die pretty awfully, like the one who chops into the electrical line. And I mean, they crushed Shredder in a garbage truck.
And he lived.
He did, but they only did that because did you ever notice the differences between the first and the second movie? Like how they never used their ninja weapons in the second movie?
They used them more to Donatello did. They used them a certain way. They used them a certain way.
It was because the studio got a bunch of backlash from parents who watched the first movie saying it was too violent and they didn't want kids emulating weapon play.
Well, yeah, for the kids, I mean, it was. I mean, the first one, I mean, but that was the point. It was like, well, what were they supposed to be doing?
Yeah, and that is also why they brought Shredder back, because otherwise Casey Jones just fucking murdered him. Flat out. That's like he walks up to the truck, throws a switch, and goes, "Oops." It's like, no, that's murder.
And the funny thing is, it's as for the kids, we didn't care. Like I didn't give a second thought.
Well, that's the thing about kids, man, is like they are okay with murder as long as it's the bad guys getting murdered, as long as the good guy comes out on top. They don't care how violent it gets. Kids have a very strong understanding of good and bad.
Yeah.
And what justice is and what evil is. And so, no, they're not bothered by shit like that, generally speaking.
Yeah, I remember what I was thinking when I saw Shredder come back. I was like, why are you still breathing?
Yeah. And then the Super Shredder thing when he gets all mutated was kind of weird.
It just got silly after when they mutated them. I was just like, oh, this is silly. Like the second one could have been great.
Yeah,
I was a huge Ernie Reyes fan too. So I was like, man, it's great to see him. And I watched him in Sidekicks, watched him in The Last Dragon, and so it was great to see him a little older. And I was like, man, this could really come out great. And then they just did all that other stuff, and I was like,
right. No, they didn't show a lot of gore aside from when the trash compactor was doing its thing. Part of the hydraulics got coated with Shredder's blood, which was pretty on the nose.
Yeah,
he wasn't supposed to get out of that. No, but like in the beginning of Secret of the Ooze, man, Michelangelo has his nunchucks with him. They're tucked into his fucking belt. What does he grab? A link of sausages. And the only reason that happened on screen was because the studio didn't want an army of angry parents writing letters again. That was it. No. Although I will say Secret of the Ooze was a lot of fun. It was. It was great. You know, and as far as the Toka and Razar characters, those were supposed to be Bebop and Rocksteady, but there was if I remember right, there was a bit of a rights issue with the
It's probably a copyright issue with it.
yeah, they didn't have like rights to certain characters hadn't been sold to them, so they had to, you know, like Bebop,
Make something new.
Rocksteady, Krang, you know, Neutrinos, all those guys, they weren't part of that package, so they had to make something else up. So yeah, pizza, music, ninja rap, go ninja, go ninja, go.
Which was funny. I love that. I used to dance this.
Man, that song slaps. Yeah. Oh, that was the weirdest thing too, because there actually is a mutant snapping turtle in canon with the Ninja Turtles. Slash, who is a turtle mutant from Dimension X.
Yeah.
You know, but and evil, pure fucking evil.
Yeah, pure evil.
You know, as a matter of fact, I think doesn't he get sent to Earth by Krang because Krang's scared of him?
Yeah, and I think then he attacked the turtles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He tried to kill him a bunch of times. Yeah. Well, that's because they don't like to glorify ninjas too much in Japan, outside of like certain anime properties, because the ninja, like pirates, have kind of a glossed over, glorified image these days. They're a little bit pumped up, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, they're super cool." And what people fail to remember about them is that they were assassins for hire. They killed people for money. They stole children and indoctrinated them, and turned them into assassins for centuries. You know. Pirates are murderers with bad fucking teeth. You know?
So basically it was like, what was the name of Ra's al Ghul's group?
In the comics or in the movies? Because they changed the name.
Did they?
Yeah, in the comic books it's the League of Assassins. In the movies it's the League of Shadows. They did that because they didn't want to glorify the word assassin.
Man, I'll tell you, man.
Yeah. But yeah,
I remember even Batman, even in Batman, after Bane, just before he broke his back, he said the League of Shadows, and I'm like, okay, and I knew it was the League of Assassins.
Are you talking about in The Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah, did he?
Yeah, he did. He talks about it there. He also, but they mention it earlier in the movie too when they're trying to find out who Bane is. So, but you know, it was going to come back to that, all that stuff. Christopher Nolan likes to tie things up in a neat little bow, which I don't have an issue with. I don't have a problem with it going around. I just really didn't like the end of that third movie at all. I thought it was very out of character. You know, just well, if you take it from spoilers, guys, but the movie's been out for like 12 years, so. If you take it from Alfred's dream of seeing Bruce out, you know, at a cafe somewhere in France, alive and happy, living a life, right? If you take that as him actually seeing Bruce and Selena out there, then yeah, it would be out of character because Batman wouldn't just walk away like that. I get him sacrificing himself, and it makes a lot more sense to me to see that scene as Alfred just wishing, you know, kind of wishful thinking. You know, like he mistook somebody for Bruce's profile or whatever, and he was just like, oh, you know, you know, just kind of like a nice little thing to tie it all off. But if it was in fact Bruce there, then I think that just fucking tears up the character.
I think it was him though. I mean, honestly, like I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, he lost all his money thanks to him not paying attention. I mean, there was really nowhere else for him to go. There was really nothing else for him. But then again, at the same time, I mean,
well, they state clearly.
They wrote the character into a corner.
Yeah, well, they did it. They state clearly that the flying machine, I forget what they called it, the bat or whatever, the autopilot is broken, right? They never tell you at any point that maybe it got fixed or whatever. So you know that Bruce has to be in the vicinity of the bomb when it goes off. right? Even if he bailed out, right? He had to stay with it long enough to get it away from the city, and there's no way he would have been able to get away from the blast radius, right? Unless he had somehow fixed the autopilot and bailed out. And if that had happened, I don't believe he would have walked away from Gotham if he had somehow survived that. So he had to have died in that explosion, which does make sense. Batman would sacrifice himself for the city. What I don't think he would do is fake his own death and start a new life somewhere. So, but that's just, I think that they left the ending of that kind of ambiguous on purpose for exactly this kind of debate.
Maybe. But then again, I mean, at the same time, and maybe you're right, because he was an international character by then. There's no way he could go to France and sit down in a cafe and, you know, after what happened and not be recognized by somebody. And how do you afford to go there when all your money was stolen from you?
Right. And even if he could, like, Bruce Wayne was famous worldwide before he was Batman, just by virtue of who his family was.
Yeah.
You know, they were like the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and the Royals all rolled up into one. You know, so yeah, he wouldn't be able to go anywhere and at least and keep the face that he has and not be recognized. You know, you make a good point there. Let's see. Yeah. I didn't read a lot of Earth 2 stuff, buddy. I find that the multiverses tend to needlessly complicate things and also remove all stakes from the story. You know, because like, oh, he died over here. Oh, but you know, there's another one from this universe, and we can just replace him. You know, which kind of renders it meaningless, in my opinion. It's one of the reasons I have a problem with Spider-Gwen. Well, Gwen Stacy's death is a defining moment in Peter Parker's life.
Oh, of course it is.
So by bringing her back, even from an alternate universe with his powers, it negates everything that death meant to his character.
Well, if she's from an alternate
Doesn't matter.
universe, I don't see how that affects it. She's from a completely different alternate reality.
Yeah,
she can't stay there with him.
Yeah, it works a little bit differently in the comic books than it did Into the Spider-Verse, but yeah, I don't like the jumping around. One of the things I thought that DC did better than Marvel ever did. Like Marvel did a series called What If for years, right? Which actually was pretty cool. It's a series of one-offs where they do some like random thing with a well-known character that was like, what if Wolverine was King of the Vampires? Which is an actual title that actually happened. You know, and it was just it was a one shot, and those were cool, but they didn't affect anything, you know, in canon. They were just like, you know, what if? Well, DC put out a line called Elseworlds, where they did much the same thing, but these would be either in miniseries, occasionally one shots, but usually miniseries, and sometimes just flat out graphic novels. For example, John Kent, the son of Lois Lane and Clark Kent, who is now the young gay Superman, started out in one of these Elseworlds novels. He didn't exist in the main universe until, I don't know, 10 years ago. Kind of thing. And they did some very, very cool stuff with that, but it all stayed separate. It had nothing to do with the main stuff. Didn't affect it in any way, didn't change the stakes in any way. And I liked that. I liked exploring different things. There's a very, very good one called Superman Red Sun, which explores the possibility, like what would have happened
if he had gone into like Russia, right?
Yeah, he lands in a communist commune in Ukraine under Soviet rule. Yes, and he's raised as a Soviet, and as a matter of fact, he is groomed and tutored by Stalin himself. And it is a very different, very dark story, but what it was an examination of the question of nature versus nurture, like how much of Clark or Superman comes from who he is and how much of it comes from his upbringing, kind of thing. And there was a Batman in it, but it wasn't Bruce Wayne. It was a guy whose parents had been killed by the secret police in front of him as a child. You know, and he was a terrorist fighting against the Stalinist state and all that. And man, good comic. Actually, that's the thing. What I don't appreciate is when they start bringing alternate universe shit into the main universe and fucking with it. You know, Miles Morales should have stayed in the Ultimates universe. He has no business in the 616.
The only thing I can say is that it brings me great joy that all of this is pissing you off, as much as the stuff that you like killing, all the fun you like killing for other people.
Yeah. Well, this is probably why I enjoyed doing that so much, just because so much of this has been done to me in the last 10 years or so. You know, and you know me, man. If I got to suffer, so does everybody else.
We'll see. But hey, everybody, guys, I know we gotta kind of well, it's time to cut it. But we want to thank you guys for coming on, spending time with us. Thanks for sticking with us. Like I said, we're just trying everything. You know, we're still making changes and trying to adapt as we go. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. You know, I'll say this, Sam, that I've been noticing people are steadily making the jump to Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just saw a certain tag team with the code name F and F just popped up on there a few days ago, I think.
F and F.
So fresh and fit.
Oh yeah, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, even they've switched over. Even they're switching over and doing stuff. I went on Rumble earlier, and I just happened to see them, and I was like, yeah, everybody's starting to switch over. I guess they're getting tired of all the copyright strikes and things that are going on. You know, which I mean, things can happen. Things change and they happen eventually. But I really believe that all of these third-party companies that are hitting people with these strikes, I really think that they're the ones that are killing the creativity for everybody, and are just, you can't. And it's one of the main reasons why I haven't started up my channel yet, because you can't really do anything, because at this point, people are getting copyright strikes for their voices. They're getting, somebody cuts their hair a certain way. They're getting a copyright strike from some company in Europe somewhere that, is not familiar with our laws.
Mm-hmm.
And then your whole channel, everything gets pulled down, and, and when you have service the way YouTube does things, where you can't even get a hold of somebody, you got to go on Twitter to get their attention, and even then you gotta beg, ask people to go spam them who knows how many times, versus if it's just you going on Twitter, hey, look, this and this, they probably wouldn't even see it or care if they did. So I suspect that this time next year, I think Rumble's going to be a completely different conversation. It just came to me as we're closing out.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. I don't know. I think, fuck, I don't know, man. I think that it's possible that could be an issue, but I also think that some people are being targeted, for what they're putting out there, or for, like you were saying, people get copyrighted on how they look or how they sound or whatever. That's that seems like some petty, like, personal shit to me. You know, I know it's happened to people, but it's not happening all over the place. There are other issues that are leading people to jump over to Rumble, and they're not doing it for the money, obviously, because of the payout there is not anywhere at YouTube's level. You know, for monetized channels, it's just not yet.
Yeah, it'll get there.
Well, Musk was talking about trying to make Twitter a competitive.
Oh yeah, he's gonna do
platform.
it. He's talking about making his own type of iPhone too. This guy's got some lofty goals. I'm like, you go ahead. In the meantime,
the payout rates he was talking, man, are like Mr. Beast level.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody on YouTube gets those kind of rates. You know. So I don't know, maybe. But yeah, it's and Aussie, part of that is because a lot of people have started leaving Patreon too. Or being forced out of Patreon. So yeah, they're putting their block content over on Rumble. So yeah, people do have to walk around eggshells here. All right, we will close this stream out. Thank you guys for coming and sticking with us. Really appreciate it. Yeah, give me about a half hour and I will have all of the description updated to include our guests' information and all the links that were used during the stream, and we'll definitely do that. And then, yeah. Otherwise, Lawrence, you got anything you want to talk about before we go?
Yeah, guys, don't forget to check out the Exile Lioness this weekend, and also Samuel's his flagship show, as I like to call it. So that'll be on Saturday afternoon as well.
You surely will. You surely will. I also will. You know, I'm pretty wired. I'm probably not going to sleep right away, so I might be doing another gaming stream tonight. I will definitely be doing one tomorrow night. And then obviously SITV on Saturday, and we will be seeing you all hopefully at the Exile Lions channel, like Larry said, after that. Anything else up and coming, we will announce as it comes, I guess. Check us out next week right here for Abyssal Musings number 10.
Hey, let me stop you right there, because I've got the perfect closing. Guys, it could be worse. Kohai could get to the she could get to the chat before you.
Okay. You know she's listening, right?
Yes, that's why I said it. Oh, and by the way, Kohai, not only were you not first, I was first at 1:30 a.m. this morning.
Oh, Jesus, let it go.
I'm never letting it go.
All right, guys. Have a great night. And remember, it could always be worse. It could be raining flaming cobras.
What is it you pray for?